Some players score goals to win matches. Some players create magic with a single moment of genius. But there are also players who make the entire world rise from their seats simply to watch them play. And on a fiery World Cup night in North America, Vinicius Jr. belonged to that special category. Against Scotland, in a decisive clash for the top spot in Group C, Brazil's superstar didn't just score twice. He turned the football pitch into his personal stage. Every touch of the ball demanded attention. Every burst of speed sent shockwaves through Scotland's defense. Brazil claimed a convincing victory and secured first place in the group. But if we only focus on the two goals beside his name, we miss the most remarkable part of the story. Because this wasn't simply a great performance. This was the night Vinicius Jr. truly became the heartbeat of the Selecao. From the opening minutes, something felt different. Scotland entered the match with a clear plan. They sat deep, packed the defensive lines, and waited patiently for counterattacking opportunities. On paper, it was the perfect strategy against Brazil. There was just one problem. They hadn't accounted for a Vinicius Jr. playing at the peak of his powers. Every time the number 7 received the ball on the left wing, Scotland's entire defensive structure was stretched to its limits. His first few steps felt like a warning. His endless stepovers left defenders trapped in uncertainty. Stay back, and the defensive line would be pulled apart. Step forward, and the risk of being beaten was enormous. That confidence didn't appear overnight. It was built through years of hard work and determination. The Vinicius we see today is completely different from the young player who first arrived in Europe. Back then, fans praised his speed, skill, and fearlessness. But they also questioned his finishing. There were games where he dribbled past entire defenses only to miss the easiest chance. Many players would have crumbled under that pressure. Vinicius didn't. He chose to fight. He trained harder, improved his decision-making, refined every weakness. And now the football world is witnessing the most complete version of Vinicius Jr. The first explosion arrived before the 2-0 minute mark. A mistake from Scotland's defense. A quick touch. A composed finish. Goal. The stadium erupted. Teammates rushed toward him. On the stands, Brazilian fans danced to the rhythm of samba. But the scariest thing for Scotland was that the goal didn't slow him down. It only fueled him further. After breaking the deadlock, Vinicius became even more unstoppable. He was everywhere. Brazil needed width. He was there. Brazil needed another body inside the penalty area. He was there. Brazil needed to win possession back. He was the first player pressing forward. That is the difference between a talented footballer and a world-class superstar. Greatness isn't measured by a few beautiful moments. It's measured by your influence across the entire 90 minutes. What excited Brazilian fans most wasn't just the goals. It was the feeling that Vinicius was truly enjoying football. For years, Brazil had been criticized for losing part of the samba spirit that made them famous. The team remained successful. They remained efficient, but sometimes they lacked the flair that once captivated the world. Then came Vinicius. Every dribble carried freedom. Every move carried imagination. He doesn't play like a machine. He plays like an artist. An artist performing for millions of spectators around the globe. Midway through the second half came a moment that perfectly captured his essence. Vinicius received the ball near the touchline. Two Scottish defenders stood in front of him. Instead of making the safe pass, he unleashed a series of dazzling tricks. The defenders completely lost their bearings. The crowd gasped. Even Brazil's substitutes laughed in disbelief. The move didn't lead to a goal, but it revealed everything about who Vinicius is. He wants people to enjoy football, and in the modern game, that quality is becoming increasingly rare. Watching him today inevitably brings back memories of Neymar at his peak. Not because they play exactly the same way, but because both possess the ability to transform a football match into a work of art. For years, Neymar carried the hopes of Brazil. Every eye followed his every move. Now, that responsibility is slowly being passed on to Vinicius Jr., And the remarkable thing is that he doesn't fear it. He embraces it. He is thriving as the leader of a new generation. At Real Madrid, Vinicius has already conquered almost everything at club level. He has scored in Champions League finals, shined against Europe's strongest teams, and become a nightmare for elite defenders. But representing Brazil is a completely different challenge. The famous yellow jersey carries the expectations of an entire nation. Only special players can handle that burden, and Vinicius is proving he belongs among them. The victory over Scotland also highlighted another side of his evolution. Leadership. Once viewed primarily as a dangerous winger, he has now become one of the team's emotional pillars. When Brazil faces adversity, teammates look toward him. When a moment of inspiration is needed, all eyes turn to him. That is the sign of a player who has moved beyond potential. He is now among the players capable of deciding the fate of matches. What stood out even more was his attitude after scoring twice. He never looked satisfied. He never slowed down. He kept running, kept pressing, kept searching for the next opportunity. That mentality is shared by football's greatest legends. They never settle. They always want more. They always seek perfection. And Vinicius Jr. is beginning to show those same qualities. When the final whistle blew, Brazil had secured an important victory. Vinicius had his brace, but the memories left behind were far greater than statistics. He didn't just score goals. He inspired his teammates, he energized the crowd, he left opponents helpless, and perhaps most importantly, he reminded the world why Brazilian football has always been loved. Not just because it wins, but because it entertains, because it is beautiful. And perhaps the most frightening thought for the rest of the tournament is that Vinicius still hasn't reached his ceiling. He is entering the prime years of his career. His pace remains explosive. His technique continues to improve. His finishing is becoming more lethal. His football intelligence grows with every season. If he maintains this level, Vinicius Jr. could soon become the best player in the world. This is no longer a story about potential. It is a story about reality. North America has witnessed many stars shine during this World Cup. But tonight, the spotlight belonged to one man, Vinicius Jr., the boy who was doubted, the player who was mocked, the young star who carried enormous pressure, now stands at the very center of world football. The 2 goals against Scotland may only be one chapter in his journey, but it is a chapter that demands attention. Because in every sprint, every touch, and every smile after scoring, there is a growing sense that a new Brazilian icon is being born. And if Brazil continues its march toward World Cup glory, we may one day look back at this night against Scotland as the moment it all truly began. The night a future legend announced himself to the world,